Here we go!
Get that last no-scope kill and hit pause. It's time for the video game podcast where the Konami code is alive and well. The console wars don't exist. Rings are just as valuable as coins. Pots are not safe from swords. Giant robots kick ass. And fireballs are a perfectly acceptable weapon in a fist fight. That's right. It's time for the Super Gamer Bros Podcast Ultra Hyper Alpha Super EX Double Impact Plus A Live. Settle in and let's get to gaming.
I got a little button happy right there, y'all.
I was about to say, someone
Sure did.
I was like, hey,
What's up, everyone?
welcome to Super Gamer Bros. This is our last episode of the summer season. We're going to have so much fun with you guys. I'm one of your gamers, Slayton, joined by...
This is Cynic. Hello, hello.
I'm Pocky, as always.
And we get together every week and we talk about video game fun. And I'm going to be...
And not get angry, and we're not going to throw this stuff.
We're already telling you guys there will be an argument this episode because it's already started. So we stopped it until we get it on air.
Both parties agreed to stop because we realized it was too damn good to leave not on camera.
Yeah, no. So if you guys watched yesterday's fun episode of Fan Service, you
And
learned
we're high.
about me. Today, you're going to learn even more about me. I'm just warning you guys now. I'm not an insensitive prick. I'm just logical sometimes.
And I have to point out that logic doesn't work.
You're a prick. Let's not mince words here.
So welcome to the show. We like to start off with get to know your gamers, and it's what we've been doing this week. So I will start with Cynic. What have you been doing this week?
Well, I reconnected with my Mortal Kombat group that I have not joined because finally there was a price drop on Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath. So I told myself, if they drop it $10, I'll get it. So they dropped that $10. Then they dropped the full game plus DLC plus Aftermath for they dropped it to $40 for everything. And I said, you know what? I'm going to rejoin my old group because they all moved to PlayStation, and I'll start playing on PlayStation. So I kind of reconnected with the old group, which is that's pretty cool. And I also kind of finished just beating the last bit out of Ghost of Tsushima. That was it's not a perfect game, but it was a perfect game for me. And so I took every bit of time that I could to just shred everybody that I could find in that game in the most creative ways that I could. And plus it was a great story, beautifully presented. I wrote up a bit of a review on it, so I'll send that to you guys or put it on the page. But Ghost of Tsushima and Mortal Kombat 11 have been my jam for the last week or two or so. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Did you hear about the supposed reveal of how many times the fox has been pet in the game? It's like over a billion.
No,
the fox is averaging the most pets.
No, I didn't realize that, but I will tell you, when I first prayed to the Fox Shrine, it gives you a slot for your gear if you do it enough. Once I walked over to the Fox and it had an icon above that said Pet Fox, I was like, oh, yes! Of course I'll pet the Fox! Thank you for putting that in there. I was so excited, and I pet at any time. Like every so often, the shrine's in an area where the fox won't fit. So sometimes I'll pray to the shrine, and then I'll turn around and go, "Oh, I didn't get to pet the fox. Like I'll have to find a different one now." So, that's a fantastic feature, and just one of many reasons why I love that game.
There's a running gag that this got Game of the Year. He's going to get Game of the Year because you could pet the fox.
Yeah, well, I'm all for it.
All right, Pocky, what have you been doing this week?
So this week has been interesting. So last week I didn't get to stream at all, at all. I didn't get to because I had a lot of personal life going on. This week I got to do a little bit of it. I'll probably do some more tomorrow. We'll probably do some tonight if we're all lucky. So this week I played Fall Guys. I got to play Fall Guys. It came out yesterday. It's free on PlayStation Network, and it's $20 everywhere else. I think it's also free on Xbox Pass.
It's not on Xbox, not yet.
Okay. I really, really, really recommend playing that game. It's even got my wife's seal of approval. Courtney has depth perception problems sometimes with video games, and this is a very fun game. So those who don't know, Battle Royale, it's a Battle Royale game where... What?
It's like a Wipeout.
How do you get these approval for a battle royale game?
It's a battle royale game where instead of killing each other, you run through an obstacle course, or chase each other to grab the tail, or
it's basically battle royale Mario Party.
It is.
Didn't we see a preview for that for Stadia? Something along those lines.
It's 100, and everybody that loses as it keeps progressing, he's falling out. So that's how it's a battle royale.
So is that the game that we're talking about? Because actually, I wouldn't mind going and seeing that. That preview did look very fun.
It's a lot of fun. You said you have PlayStation, so you have the PSN Network. It's free, so go get it.
I might as well.
They've already hit. They already had to expand the servers for every system because they couldn't keep up. They said they knew it was going to be popular. Even developers said we knew it was going to be popular. We didn't think it was going to crash game servers. The wonderful thing about the game is if you lose, you can immediately start again. You just start over another round. It lasts about 3 to 4 rounds, and the longest round is 3 minutes.
Okay. So it's very time friendly, very respectful of your time, as I like to say.
There is microtransactions.
Cosmetic?
Cosmetic only.
Okay.
Paints and colors. Here's the thing: you don't have to buy them. You're given the money, you're given the points, you're given everything you need. You just play. So, and that's where it's the only reason you'd want to get the cosmetics is they don't add any gameplay, they don't add anything. You could go as plain coloring as you want. It just, and every time you level, you get a bunch of points.
It's just for fun, basically, and that's how viable stuff should be.
That sounds awesome. I mean, it looked a hell of a lot of fun when I saw it the first time. 100 people doing American Ninja Warrior obstacle course. Just looks like a ton of fun. It looked like a mess.
So it does. They do control how they look. I'll say that. Which means if you're going forward, you can fall down because your character's going too forward too fast, their head's too big.
Yeah. So there's some physics stuff in there. That's cool.
The other game I've been playing is Code Vein. I played the demo of Code Vein finally. So
cool.
I spent most of my weekend grounded because over the weekend, my oldest friend and he really wanted to play it. I kept texting Cynic all day. We were literally in that game for 8 hours, and I have not done that.
Yeah, I didn't.
Years.
I didn't even get on the Xbox that night. I was like, well, let me see what happens, and it was just me with the baby, and Allie with the baby too. But I basically it was time with the baby, and then after we were done, it was time with Allie because it was our anniversary week, so it was pretty
So we did a lot in 7 hours. We built a base. We got a feel for actually how to play. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting because after we get done with this,
I had no idea what we were doing. I mean, I had an idea, build stuff, kind of.
After this, we're gonna actually get on a play because Pocky's got to go do something for 30 minutes, and he's gonna join us because he has on PC. But I know how to play it now. We understand what to do, and it's not really a game made for solo play. There is no way you'd be able to play this game completely solo. Not a chance in hell.
Okay.
You can do a lot solo, but this is one of those games where you really need to have people with you.
Well, I'm guessing right now, since it's so unrefined, it's just a giant sandbox anyway. So it's probably just more fun to have people since there's no official mission.
When you and I played it when it launched, I had a few complaints, but I've figured out why I had those complaints, and now we understand. One of the complaints was when you get a quest, there's no marker. We literally just have to, and then when we figured out what we were supposed to be doing, we understood how to do it. Yeah. So it's just about exploring and getting a feel for the land to create the markers in the map yourself. So we found the Battletoad Lake, we found the Rake, we found Spade Canyon. We found all the little places, and then I realized you could swim. There's an entire pond you could swim in. And I was like, we
never even did bother jumping into that pond, did we?
I dropped everything at the house that I ran and said, in case I die, and I jumped right in and I swam to the other side. I was like, what? And then I had to run all the way back with nothing. So,
I know when we played, I looked at that area and I was like, oh, I guess this is going to be the invisible wall where we can't go past. But
the invisible wall is literally the fence of the yard.
Okay.
That is what we have discovered.
So it's a invisible fence then.
It is huge map, and we haven't even discovered everything on it yet. So we're gonna play that later. So that's what I've been doing, is mostly grounded, and then next week Destiny launches Moments of Triumph. So, or whatever their thing is, I'll be playing a lot of Destiny next week.
Yeah.
All right, so it's time to get into our last question of the week, and I wanted to keep this one secret from you guys because I really wanted to see what first thing popped in your mind. I didn't want to give you a lot of time to think about it. But
Ready.
what is the most underrated, hated game that deserves more credit?
Underrated game that deserves more credit.
Yeah. So I'm going to kick this one off. And I thought about this one on Saturday because the other thing I've been doing is I've been watching a lot of YouTube top 10 video game videos. And these people don't know what they're doing half the time. I'm telling you, like, if it's not commercial, most of the time they don't know what it is.
I have a theory about those videos that I'll share later.
So I'm kicking off with Aliens Colonial Marines. Because that game was actually super fun. I played the entire thing with Lance. We co-opted the entire campaign. The multiplayer was hilarious. There's always people multiplayer.
I'm guessing this is because it's after the patch. They had a massive patch for that game after its disaster.
They did, but the thing is it was a 10-year-old game when we got it.
Yeah.
And I understood it was not up to par with what people wanted, but it was a really old game that we finally got.
It was not up to par to their own damn height. They scripted every event. The AIs were being actually controlled by other players, by people running the game. It wasn't that it was not under its hype. It was they hyped God, and then when God didn't show up,
they originally hyped God.
Well, it was
all the way after for so long later.
Yeah. Well,
but,
from what I understand, because I actually have heard this, I heard that, of course, Colonial Marines, when it first came out, was completely busted, bordering on unplayable. The AI was awful. The only parts people seemed to like were like the stealth missions, but like also the aliens would just kind of walk by you anyway. There
was a patch for that.
They did spend some time actually patching this, and I heard Colonial Marines became pretty serviceable after that. So I was glad to hear that because anything aliens, I love anything aliens. And I was really disappointed actually when that bombed.
Well, I was just because it was one of the few times I actually bought the collector's edition with the statue, and I loved it. And I got it, and it took me about a week before I got down and started playing it. And then Lance got on, and we co-opted the entire campaign, and we had so much fun because it had its problems, and it wasn't perfect, but it was just fun, and that's what it was supposed to be. And the story was a little bit of a stretch, but not much. And there were some silly parts, like the weird blind aliens that walked. Like, it was fun, though. At the end of the day, it was fun. And we still had to think about what we were doing. And the multiplayer was just crazy. Yeah. But that's my choice for underrated game that really deserves more love. I wish it would have done a lot more.
It would never get more love.
It's one of those ones that would never have. That may could have been gold. People hate it because it was such an overhyped long-term deal. But I wish it would have done better because we would have gotten more. I would have loved to see like them go more squad based and stuff like that. It would just have been fun. That's my choice. Let's hear what y'all's did before we get into our topics of the day.
I'd have to say I almost wanted to say Alien vs Predator 2010, but I'm going to try and stray away from the Aliens franchise because that's all I could think about after you said your answer. I'm gonna go with Nidhogg 2. And the reason is because I actually Nidhogg 2 dropped in its price on the Switch. It had been out already for a little bit. Nidhogg 1, I sat down with a friend and played I sat down with him and we played the entire time. I hung out with him for like 4 or 5 hours or whatever it was. He showed me, I think Binding of Isaac had come out, or maybe recently, or maybe it had been out for a while. I can't quite recall. We played Binding of Isaac, which was pretty cool. Then we started playing Nidhogg, which, if you've never played it, the first one is basically 2 stick figures running at each other with what looks like a stick, and it's a sword. We
have talked about this, and I remember because you like showed it off to me.
Yeah, exactly. The second
developers of this game.
The second game, they're not stick figures anymore. They are more fleshed out. The areas and music and the stages, everything has been improved in Nidhogg 2. It looks like a game that more people would actually play. They also added more weapons in there, but the charm from Nidhogg 1 is still there. And for nobody who's played it, I mean, you basically have a sword that you hold up like this that you control by pressing up and down, and you can thrust this sword, and based on your defenses, I mean, your defense is basically just trying to match where their sword is, and if it's at the wrong height and you get thrusted upon, it'll hit you. That's such an understatement of how fun this game is, because you can jump in the air over each other, dive kick, knock the swords out. When you're unarmed, you can slide, you can break the other opponent's neck, and the point is there's 2 stages, and it's just 2D Mario. You're just trying to run to the end of the stage, and the only thing stopping you is the other person. And once the other person gets a kill, they get to try to run to their side. So it's super simple. I bought Nidhogg 2 because it was on discount on the Switch, and we were around family, friends. I was like, I'm gonna get to play Nidhogg with some family and friends, so I'm gonna have a blast. And I couldn't get anyone to sit down and play this damn game with me. My wife pity gamed with me,
I'll play with you. Come on now.
Oh, get the hell out of here! You were one of them, you bastard. So anyway, I couldn't get anyone to play this, but it's so much fun. So sometime I have to sit down with a group of friends and play Nidhogg 2, and it's mayhem. It's if you go look up Nidhogg 2 online, because I can't do it justice here in the time that we have. So I'm going to have to pass this on to Pocky. But
come on, Pocky. What's your answer?
Go for it. Mine is actually Mega Man 6.
You're picking a Mega Man game. They're all revered.
No, they're not. Oh, good God, are they not? 6 and 8 are kind of the horrible children.
Black sheep of the fit. We're just gonna slap another number out there.
Yeah, I thought 9 was the bad.
No, 9 was the one that went back to 8-bit graphics. 8 was the one that had the famous slide. Jump, slide, jump.
The newest Mega Man had people all pissed off. I can't remember the name of that one. I want to say that was 9.
No, that would have been 10 or 11. But basically, 6 particularly was when they were starting the whole, they had branching paths. Powers actually affected the environment. There were upgrades. The biggest problem with it was the Buster was actually one of the weakest Busters for the game, but all the powers were really good, and there were options. And it was also the first game that let you, during Wily stages, refill. Because if you ever played the old ones, you did the Wily stage with a marathon, and by the end you were completely spent and you had nothing left. And if you accidentally spent out of the weapon that Wily was actually weak against, the fight was very, very difficult. This is one of the few cases where this is the first game where Wily's castle, you actually had gaps between it that you could go refill. There were also a lot of options. It's a really good game. It just got some really bad ideas and kind of long. It's also the first introduction of base.
Okay, cool.
Well, so there's been our answers for games we like.
I looked it up real quick, by the way, because this is bothering me. It's Mega Man 11 that came out recently and people didn't like too much. So
yeah,
I think we're done with Mega Man.
I'd like to see a true smooth return to form for Mega Man.
Mega Man board game. We should totally play it.
Yeah,
I don't know how it plays, but I have it.
That'd be super fun.
All right, so let's get into our topics for the week. We have a couple ones that are just kind of thoughts as we go. But did y'all see the Battletoads trailer this week?
Yeah.
I love Battletoads.
Same.
I don't know how I feel about this yet.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not alone. All right. So
I knew it was coming because they said, "Hey, we got Battletoads." I was like, "Yes, Battletoads." But this isn't. I don't know what it is. It looks like a Flash mobile game, maybe?
I can explain it perfectly, okay?
Okay.
This is like going from Teen Titans to Teen Titans Go. Okay.
Yes.
It's your old arcade, old school Battletoads. I mean, it doesn't have to be all blood and gore, but I mean, it was pretty gritty. If you ever played the old school arcade game, the original Battletoads for the NES was it was a hard hitting, explosive experience, and it was difficult. Like, I never beat it as a kid. I beat it like with save states when Rare Replay came out, and that was the only way I could possibly get close to beating that game.
It's on Rare Replay, and it's still an amazing game.
It's still good. Yeah.
But then you get this, and it looks like
Dragon was super good.
It looks like they're doing some Streets of Rage mixed with some Street Fighter, mixed with some Simpsons Arcade, mixed with who knows what else.
I will say this: the gameplay, the actual gameplay, looks fun. I'm just having some problems with the design and the sanitization of the series, and I hope that doesn't get in the way of the gameplay. Because I mean, Streets of Rage that was a sequel that was true to form. All they did was improve upon the formula that was already
like everything.
Yeah, exactly. Here it feels like they sanitized it, and then but I mean, it looked fun. I sat there and watched it and said, you know what? It doesn't look like the Battletoads that I know and love, but it looks like it may play like it.
It's going to be on Games Pass, so
it is on Games Pass. We have to play it, absolutely, because it's Battletoads and it's going to be on Games Pass. Yeah, for sure.
So the whole thing is, for those who don't know, the original lore of Battletoads was three nerds who got sucked into a video game and turned into their avatars.
So Jumanji.
But it was technically Jumanji before Jumanji.
Yeah.
And then there's the animated pilot they did, which I bought.
We don't talk about that.
So, and that pilot had it where it was a princess who gave them the power of the greatest.
I thought we were talking about that, Poggy.
So,
I can look it up if they really want to.
I think what it is somebody took the lore and they're like, well, what would happen if these kids were now?
Well, I mean,
it kind of, if you look at it that way, it kind of get what they're going for. It's
honestly
good. No.
When I was a kid, I didn't know any of the lore whatsoever. I just knew.
I just played the game.
But the game has the lore at the beginning.
Well, I mean, but these
you know what? I just
knew these jacked up anthropomorphic toads were punching rats into the screen and throwing rocks at the screen as it shot at you because it's the point of view of the mech that you're fighting, and this voluptuous evil woman is sending waves of rats at you. And I saw this one, and it was kind of, it didn't feel it's.
Oh, I get you.
It just doesn't feel it. Yeah. It's Battletoads Go, but hopefully it's better than that.
We will find out.
We will see. Yes.
What I know
we'll have
be
a
better.
30-minute rant if it's not.
Yeah, what I know is not going to be better is they announced Pikmin 3 for October, and it's a direct port. I was like, I've been waiting for a Pikmin announcement for the Switch because I love Pikmin, and they're like, hey, we're just going to do a port of 3. Here you go. Like,
well. I'm kind of looking forward to it because I never got into the Pikmin series. It was always on GameCube, and I completely missed out on it. And I mean, they did Wii and stuff like that. But
here's my problem.
So what's the issue?
Why not do a remaster? At least do a remaster, because I'm watching this game going, this is not Switch graphics. They're literally just porting over a game and going to charge you full price for it. I have a problem with that. Nintendo's doing a lot of ports and a lot of just quick grabs, which I should have known they were going to do. I mean, I love the Switch, but there was no reason why they could not have developed a Pikmin 4. There is no reason whatsoever.
You never know. The money they make from this could go into the development.
They're not worried about making money. They sell these systems hand over fist. They sold Smash Bros. And Pokemon hand
That's
over
true,
fist.
but they're going to milk it as much as you are on the side of the evil corporation half the time. I'm surprised at you, Gavin.
Well, and I'm also mad because Animal Crossing released their summer update of things that should have just been there to begin with. that have been, there's nothing new been added to this game that hasn't been in all the other games. And people are like, wait, what? And then we get this Pikmin 3 thing, which is just a direct port, no real upgrades, no remaster. We're going to put it on the Switch, not change anything. What's the point? Just, you had the time to do Pikmin 4.
The point may very well be that the Switch is so unbelievably popular that people who haven't had a Nintendo system since Nintendo 64, like me, now have a chance to play it. That's why I'm not going to sit here and say I'm super excited for it, because it's Pikmin and I've never played a Pikmin game because it's, I don't know.
It's even really fun.
It looks fun, and I'm not going to say a bad word about it because I've never played it. So maybe this will give me the opportunity to try it out, and anybody else who missed out on the GameCube and the Wii and all that, because I did. I totally I had the Xbox, the PlayStation. It had everything I needed, and so I never had the reason. So I'm all for Pikmin 3. That's fine with me. At a discount.
I hope that they sell it for like half price, because it's
that'd be nice.
I mean, come on.
So hold on, I can put this in my Google documents. Let's see. 8620 effing called it. In. Okay. We're good.
Quiet, you Poggy. All right.
So hold on. I want to point out something to you, just to help understand certain things. The Nintendo Switch right now has sold 61.
He's been Googling these stats while we were talking.
61.44 units. Billion, by the way. 61.44 million units. Currently, that makes it third place. From the NES, which was 61.991 million units, and still has a little ways to go to catch up to the Wii, which is 101.6 million units. Yes, they're going to put all their old games that they still have some viable use for on the Switch, because right now everyone's fucking buying the Switch for reasons.
I get it. I just think this is another opportunity they missed to create something new. I mean, at least Luigi's Mansion was a new game. At least Paper Mario was a new game. But they're going to port over all the Zelda games now, which people already figured out. And there's going to be ports, and people are going to pay for them again because, we get to play them again. But
I'm cool with all that. The thing is also that people are buying Switches because obviously, kids in quarantine and stuff like that. That's a big deal. So,
as long as it's not the full freaking price, I'm okay with that. Or do it as a virtual library. Like they have to create what's next? The 64 virtual library should be next.
Oh yeah, I hope they do, but because there's already been a bunch of games. Like I bought Turok 2 on the Switch, and it's fantastic, runs amazing, and it's the funny thing is I bought that on Christmas. It was at a discount, and I loved that game growing up. It still holds up. For me, anyway. It doesn't look. Reskin would have been nice, So
at least it's not Turok 1.
Yeah, Turok 1 also still holds up for me. As long as people are gurgling on their blood, and then I can blow them to smithereens. I'm cool with that. For those of you who didn't play Turok 1, a lot of gurgling. So
and no Horizon lights.
But as I watch these Turok games come out, and I watch the pod racing game come out for the Switch as well as the PlayStation 4, and they're $20 here and there and whatnot, I'm wondering how the N64 ports are going to stay free. I hope they do. Since they come with a subscription, technically you pay for the subscription $20 a year, which is nothing.
It would have to be something just a couple bucks a piece, because I can see that now for the virtual libraries start charging $4 a piece, because we're in the 64 on era.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, there's a lot of games that don't hold up but are still fun to play though, aesthetically. But one thing that did give me hope is I ranted about a few shows ago about Donkey Kong Country, because that game absolutely still holds up, and I sat and played with my wife for a couple hours on the co-op. Just so much fun. So if You guys know I'm all for it in 64. Emulators, what the word I'm thinking.
Virtual console.
All right,
Yes.
so
That and the GameCube. Can we have the GameCube one?
yeah,
Probably
the
not.
GameCube one would probably be super fun. All right, so yeah, this is a little bit of Nintendo talk, but now I want to get to the Street Fighter V thing.
Yeah.
Because Pocky was all excited about it yesterday. I think we talked a little bit about it on fan service.
No, we did not. We avoided.
Before, that's right. Because we always do pre-shows to get everything ready. I had some very strong opinions about this. And so, Pocky, tell us about the Street Fighter V thing.
First, whoa! Okay, done. So I am super hyped. And you have to understand, I am not a big Street Fighter fan at all. I am an
Sure, it sounds like you're a big Dan fan. If that's what you're.
Everybody loves Dan.
Everyone.
Okay,
loves Dan.
so first off,
I
they
have a
said,
Dan Funko Pop. I mean, come on.
so basically, this is the final season. They've officially announced this is the last season for Street Fighter V before they move on to whatever the next titles they're working on. And I'm going to say this with having to remind everybody that a while ago, after Resident Evil 2 did really good, Capcom said they were going to look into some of their old IPs they haven't touched in a while. And so a lot of people got some speculation from this. Now I'm going to fast forward to here. Now, so they announced 4 characters. Out of 5 possible characters, they announced 4. Dan was the first one, and everyone was genuinely shocked by because there was already leaks ahead of time, but Dan was not on the list. So for a lot of people, that was a big deal. Rose is the next one. And everyone's like, okay, we haven't had Rose in a while. That's really, really cool. And then we got Otto from Street Fighter Alpha series is making a comeback.
Order was more from Street Fighter 3.
Yeah, Street Fighter 3.
Yeah. Great character, though. Interesting.
Great character. He's going to come back. He's got a new story. These are all these characters are getting their own levels. Some of them are having their own special moves, and they're all going to have their own story.
Yeah.
That's 3. And then the 4th. And then out of nowhere, they announced, hey, the Rival Schools franchise takes place in the same universe as Street Fighter. And everyone's like, okay, why would you? Here is Akira Sakura from Rival Schools. She's going to have her own level. We're not going to show it off yet. We're only going to show you gameplay footage from Rival Schools 2. She's going to be the next playable character.
Yeah.
She's going to show up mid-2021.
Super excited because I love Rival Schools. Akira and Tiffany were my team. Mm-hmm. And as Pocky said, it was like, let's just drop Street Fighter now. You have so many other properties. Let's get to Rival Schools and Darkstalkers. So we're obviously going to get back into Rival Schools. Where's my Darkstalkers, people? You have one of the best franchises ever, and it's just sitting there for epic Street Fighter.
So one of the big takeaways from the whole mess, and this was something that I noticed and a couple other people I follow noticed, the guys who work on Street Fighter, the production team and the crew that make those fighting games, said we're going to take after the Monster Hunter community when it comes to dealing with the community. Which, in layman's terms, if you've ever been a part of the Monster Hunter community, Capcom treats that community very, very well. They actually listen to people's responses and what people want. That's how we ended up with half the monsters in Monster Hunter World. If Capcom's new mentality is to treat every community like that, we're going to get a Darkstalkers game. We're going to get a Rival Schools game. We're going to start getting some of those games that Capcom's community, even though some of them haven't had a game in nearly 20-something years, we're going to get a copy of. Because
they need to hurry up. It's been way too long. They have more than Street Fighter. I guess Street Fighter is super fun, whatever.
It's also like one of the biggest shows in Evo, and so
yeah.
Well, Street Fighter V also it was a little rocky because I got a PlayStation 4 really specifically for Street Fighter V, and man, did that game have a hard time getting going. It definitely feels better than it did, but I'm hoping that the new DLC brings a few fixes. I personally wouldn't be opposed to a Street Fighter 6, to be honest. Just because the base mechanics for 5 make it a little slow, a little sluggish, a little stumpy, and you just have to play the game to see what happens when you tap somebody and how much time there is in between you hitting them to where you can hit them and how long they're in block stun. It just feels a little. It's trying to give you time to react. And people who grew up playing Street Fighter forever, or who played Street Fighter 4, which is a fast-paced experience, I'm cool with a faster-paced experience for Street Fighter 6. But one thing they also did for this DLC announcement, there's one new character that they haven't showed off. And it's like Pocky said. So there's 4 that they revealed, 1 that they're not, and I'm really, really interested to see who they're doing here. I mean, they did Street Fighter Cross Tekken before. Akira Kazama is the name of the rival school's character, and there are Kazama characters from Tekken. So they could do Jin Kazama, Kazuya Kazama. So I don't know. It could go a bunch of different ways. I'd be excited. I might actually be excited to see this new Street Fighter. I mean, Dan's going to be in there anyway, and how can you ignore Dan?
All right, so we have about 20 minutes left of the show, so let's get to this Games Hotline, Pocky.
Okay.
He just found this one. Make this really quick so we get to our other stories.
So basically, there's a thing called the Games and Online Harassment Hotline. It's basically an online text and service that allows people, and no matter what part of the gaming industry you are, consumer, developer, or whatnot, basically get mental health. And it's free. It's a text-based system. It's volunteers. It's working with multiple groups.
So this is for publishers and developers, right?
No, this is for everybody.
Players, developers.
If you are in front of the controller or behind the controller.
Do you know how sad it is that we have to create a hotline for this? How far have we come? I can understand on the developer side, but on the front end side of us playing games, like, for real?
Yes. Yeah, ask
How
any.
sad is it that this is still an issue, people? It's been years and years and years of gaming and gaming culture and how we've all evolved to be playing together. How are there still...
Because
Why
they're
am I even
not
asking this question?
evolving.
Why am I even asking this question?
They're not
Okay.
evolving, Gavin. They're all assholes.
That's where the argument is starting, because
No,
No.
game.
I was
So,
gonna say, this sounds like it could be its own thing.
so
It
the
is.
Games Hotline.
I'm going to try to get a hold of some people.
We are going to do a special show just about this with them. Pocky's going to try to find some guests, put this together, because this is an important topic.
Yeah.
And we just need to grow the fuck up and like learn to treat each other with respect. Come on, we're in 2020. Yes, this year has been absolute crap, but we all have a better understanding of each other and the lives we all live and everyone's differences. That if you want to be a toxic piece of shit, just report them. Don't get random parties. Like we all know how to do this. So we're very interested to talk about this with people.
When TikTok's idea of dealing with harassers of people of color or GLBT or transgender people's mentality is kill the person who suspend the account of the person doing the video, not the harasser, but the content creator. No, nobody ever.
There's a whole different reason for that. We're not even going to get into this show, but there's a back end reason they did that. It's because of the hierarchy in TikTok, and that was messed up, but that's because it's reflecting the values of the people who developed it. So, all right. So with that, Pocky's going to put this information on our Facebook page for you guys, and he is going to plan a show with them. So this will be lots of fun. It'll be interesting. All right. Next up, I want to talk about the Xbox Gold soap opera that happened this week, because they stopped selling the year in the 6 months, and then they said Halo Infinite's going to be free to play no matter what. And then they said, well, we're not going to do Xbox Live Gold anymore. Then today they said, well, we are, but this weekend we're not. So you can play anything you want this weekend without gold. So no one really knows what's going to happen, because it seems like they're leaning towards free online play for everyone, because they don't need the money from it anymore because they're getting everything from Games Pass. I don't know what to make of this yet. I honestly don't, because Halo Infinite said you don't need gold to play multiplayer. They stopped selling all the subscriptions. They rebranded Xbox Game Pass to just Games Pass. They're doing all these things in the back end, and then they're like, oh no, we're not getting rid of Xbox Live Gold, but hey, it's a free weekend, so do what you want.
Yeah. Okay.
So the answer to this is they're trying to change their model.
I'm all for changing the model. Like, the biggest thing people had a problem with is with both of the services at the beginning was you had to pay for it for everything, including Netflix and stuff like that. Both PlayStation and Xbox did that. Then they dropped that, and it was just if you want to play with your friends. Well, I get it to a degree. You have to pay mortgage in your house. You have to rent your apartment. You have to rent your virtual space on a hard drive. It costs money.
Except it doesn't cost Microsoft any money unless it's a Microsoft game. It costs everybody else money.
No. It costs them money for you to have their server space. You are renting a virtual apartment on their servers for all of your data and information, so that you go to any Xbox you want to. You can open up the app with Games Pass coming in. You can do all that stuff. You are renting your space to either PlayStation servers or Xbox servers for your information to be at.
It also paid for just maintenance of the infrastructure, and I remember there was a couple years in a row. I remember having an Xbox, and whenever, excuse me, this was like the 360 days, and then the PlayStation 3 had free online, and that was a big deal. PlayStation was going, "Hey, our stuff is free, it's cool." And then when you had major gift holidays come up, the PlayStation would crash, and it was because people would PlayStation would get hacked basically.
Yeah.
And they'd say we've been hacked and everything's down and it'll be up in like a couple days, and we're like, it's Christmas and Xbox is good to go. So
I'm wondering if they're really just going to now it's just Games Pass.
Well, it seems like that's the way they're going to go, and as long as they've found a way to pay for the maintenance for everything to make sure that stuff doesn't crash on big moments like that or get hacked constantly, because there's so many times where I've opened up gaming news to see that Sony's been hacked. That's happened so many times compared to Xbox. I mean, everyone gets hacked eventually. Unfortunately, It seems to be kind of the world we live in now. But it used to happen on such a frequent basis, along with the crashes, that I was very happy to sit back and go, no, I'll pay for my Xbox subscription. It's fine. And when Sony announced that they would have you pay for the PlayStation Plus service where you could get online and everything, pissed a lot of people off who were just wanting to save money. But I sat back and was like, yes, please. I will certainly pay to be able to actually play your stuff whenever, any time, and not be hacked.
Well, and something like Nintendo did, they give you monthly freebies. Granted, PlayStation usually gives better games than Xbox does. I don't understand that one at all. But you get access to these free games and everything, so I get it. But if they're just going to roll into Games Pass, I don't know why anyone doesn't want Game Pass. I have friends who don't want Game Pass. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Are you kidding me? For real?
The only reason I don't want Games Pass is I don't own Xbox. I have a PC, but most of my games
works with PC.
But most of the games that I have on PC go through Steam, so I go through that service already. So, and so my thing is what I was going to say was they're changing systems, they're changing gears, and the problem is you have two marketing teams at that point going, hey, we need to kill this so we can get more people into X. Well, we can't kill X right now because we need to keep Y going. And so you're constantly batting back and forth. And at a point, someone's going to have to sit down and go and announce like a kill date for one of them. And it's obviously going to be the gold pass. The gold is going to get killed. So it's right now what you're doing is you're suffering from go ask your mom syndrome. And your mom goes, go ask your dad. So just everyone's getting moving back and forth. And so right now, Microsoft's gone to go ask your mom. In a minute, mom's going to say, go talk to dad.
Well, I'm okay either way, because I'm going to pay for Games Pass, so I know I'm going to have that. I do think multiplayer shouldn't cost an arm and a leg. Like, I would always buy discount codes for like $40 for the year online. I couldn't fathom people paying $10 a month for Xbox Live. Like, that was a bit extreme. But we'll see how it plays out. I don't think it's going to go away. I think you're right. I think they're just going to kind of meld everything into one, which is what they kind of want to do because they're killing it with Game Pass. Especially when it comes out on the phone with xCloud. Like I would be playing Destiny at my job, y'all. I'm not going to get any more work done.
I'm gonna say that out loud. Your boss will probably hear you if you listen.
And Sea of Thieves, yeah, it'll be we'll play a lot of that. All right, next up.
Our last one. Hold on.
Your boss will just wonder
This
what
isn't the last one. This isn't the last one. This is
Oh, okay. Right. Sorry.
So, despite better judgment, and despite the proof that this is a horrible, horrible idea,
the one we all agree on. This is the one we agree on. Okay.
they're making PlayStation exclusives for the Avengers game. And the biggest one is Spiderman as a playable character. Now, let me explain to you the reasoning why this does not work and why Sony is stupid. They keep trying to push these exclusive things when we're past the age of that, but also, okay, for lack of a better term, this Avengers game is designed to be played like Destiny and these other soft MMOs that have weekly goals and quests and things like that. And what killed Destiny was the PlayStation exclusives, because the PlayStation exclusives could never be part of like strike playlists. It could never be part of weekly challenges. All the fun stuff it could never be a part of because it's not community wide. So Spider-Man is going to get bottled into this very narrow area for you to use him in because he cannot be used community wide. Everything else that they're doing with the cosmetic stuff can't be.
We knew that for sure.
Yeah. So
basically, the story was real fast.
They're really comparing this game to a superior version of Destiny. So
yeah, I've understood it's like Ultimate Alliance / Destiny is kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, so you can't play community events with exclusive stuff. So you're cutting off a whole half of your body. And the internet exploded saying this is the dumbest idea. And Pocky, you told me about the press conference.
Okay, so I'm not going to quote this because I can't quote hostage taking. So Crystal Dynamics president came on talking about this. This is when this got announced, was Crystal Dynamics. If there was a gun to his head held by a guy in a Spider-Man outfit with the words "I am Sony" on a shirt, and he was blinking Morse code, "Please send help," it would make sense. His sentences make no damn sense. It is completely broken English, as if someone in a very large rush was trying to write a series of explanations without explaining anything. It made completely no sense. I can't quote it because I'd have to go find the quote, and the quote looks like a jumbled mess of English that if Google Translate would see it, it would get confused as all hell.
It's pretty bad because this kills any idea of cross-platform play.
Which is something Sony's always against. I love my Sony, but even I have to admit at this point, like, they're the only ones against it.
They're really holding out against it.
Next year, Destiny's getting it across everything. So we know Sony's ability to do it. They keep doing these stupid choices, these stupid exclusivity things. I understand if it's a game you made, like the Spider-Man game, by all means. But if it's something that's going to be detrimental to your game experience, you get to come play Spider-Man. Well, then look at the other side of it. Everyone else on PC and everything else that plays Avengers is still paying full price for the game, but not getting any of those fun extras. So you're already alienating a whole crap ton of your user base that you're charging the same amount of money for, but not giving everything to. And like I said, the whole community aspect with their weekly strikes, their events, and seasonal things, they just cut off a whole section of things that can be done.
So that's a real bummer. Just by the announcement alone, and I haven't seen the press conference, so I'll have to go look at it. But as soon as I saw the headline, Spider-Man, a Sony exclusive for Marvel's Avengers games, and now I didn't even know Spider-Man was going to be in the Marvel Avengers games. I'm assuming he had to because it seems like they're really pulling from the movie universe a lot. So I was of course hoping he'd be in there, but when they announced that he was an exclusive, I went, oh, like even I have a PlayStation 4, okay? I get it. But even though I have that, I sat back and went, oh my God, how could you do that to people? Really?
So my thing is this is because pretty much Sony wants to treat Marvel like the favorite, like not Marvel. They want to treat Spider-Man like the favorite child between a custody battle. Like
Well, I'm
Sony
sure,
wants- Sony-
they paid a lot of money for his license to use in Into the Spider-Verse
But this is not Cinemaverse Spider-Man. This is completely different.
True, but
But
they also, I'm sure they had to pay some sort of video game license for the exclusive Spider-Man game, which, by the way, was one of my favorite games of the year when I played it. Yeah.
So I can answer part of this, and Brad could also answer part of this. But basically, the way Sony wrote its contract with Spider-Man is basically they own Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They own him in any media. Sony,
No, they don't.
They do in a
They
way.
own it in the film rights alone. They don't own most of the merchandising now. They don't own any of the comic rights. They only own Cinemaverse.
Right.
So this is outside of Cinemaverse, and this is still them trying to do something different.
It is, but then you look at how they look, and they look like Cinemaverse, and that's becoming
Kind of, but they're going to be
it's free
expanding
up.
a lot more outside of the Cinemaverse. So
No, as the joke was when they first showed up, we kidnapped their stunt doubles. They want to look like Trey Baker as Robert Downey Jr.
I wasn't going to play the game to begin with.
I was excited for it because I'm a big Ultimate Alliance fan, and that's exactly.
If it was actual Ultimate Alliance, I would be okay with it. But it's more of a Destiny clone, and I spent too much time in Destiny. So
I mean, I was cool with it because when I played Ultimate Alliance 3, which is a fun game, by the way, but it's just fun in a different way than 1 and 2 were, and 1 is still by far my favorite, just because there's many different reasons why I like 1 the best, but we'll save that conversation for another time.
I love 2 more because that was the one that was like on a bunch of other systems that like people
all right. Well,
here's
It's a disappointment, is what it is. It's a problem.
Here's a question for you guys: who is Microsoft going to get to replace?
no, they're not. Sony's getting all the cosmetic exclusives. They're getting characters first. They're getting Spider-Man exclusively. So basically, it's just like Destiny and Call of Duty, those other ones. We're like, hell, you get over here first, but at least the other characters will come later on to PC and Xbox, and wherever else it goes. All right, our last story of the night, and this is where Pocky and I had a major disagreement beforehand. So I've noticed a trend, and so Rare announced that they've instituted the option to turn on auto float for Sea of Thieves for people who are afraid of being in water. And the whole let's turn off spiders and grounded looks really silly, by the way.
It does.
For people with arachnophobia.
What have they replaced the spiders with? Because I'm guessing there has to be no heat in it.
And another ball. It's 2 balls. The first ball has like the little kind of cartoony eyes on it.
So let me clarify because someone's oversimplifying. So there is a sliding bar that goes from 0 to 5. And sorry, you said 0 to 5. 0 is you don't do anything to the spider, you don't have arachnophobia, you're fine. And then as you click to the thing, it moves more and more of the spider. So like first one is it gets it down to 4 legs versus 6. It removes the multiple eyes.
So it's basically made for people who have a huge fear of spiders.
Right.
And so the problem is this is now becoming a trend where they want to make games, as Pocky said, accessible. It's not about accessibility. If I am afraid of being in water, I am not playing a game where you have to be in the water.
You're playing Sea of Thieves. Yeah.
Just like if I am afraid of being underwater, I'm not watching underwater. The whole thing takes place underwater. I wouldn't be able to handle it. But the difference is I have arachnophobia, but I understand these aren't real spiders. My mind does not associate the two. Yes, it's kind of intense when they pop up, and I run and I say, "Oh shit!" Like I cannot even tell you this one's man. But I get it.
That was fun
it's not
watching
real. I know how to handle that. But if I'm afraid of insects, I'm not playing Grounded. It's a game full of giant insects.
Well, I think the other thing would be instead of having the slider take away some of the spider's features, which is just weird. That's such a weird concept. I figured when I heard an announcement, this is going to appeal to people who have arachnophobia. We can take a different direction with the spiders. I figured they were going to add something like a super ant or like something else to actually replace the spider with. Maybe like a bird, like in A Bug's Life or something. Hey, you've got this little mini bird that's jumping around, and it's really OP.
It's the difference saying, hey, I want to play World of Warcraft, but I can't take looking at skeletons. There's no way to turn them off. That's a major part of World of Warcraft.
Unless you're
missing something majorly, so go play the other side.
Or go play in China, because in China they reveal the skeletons.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's an argument you can make that makes this make sense because we'll let them play. You're not really missing anything from Grounded or Sea of Thieves that's groundbreaking or genre defining that you have to go play it. There are specific games and specific environments. If you're uncomfortable with those environments, you don't have the desire to play the game to begin with.
Yeah,
it's all okay. So first off, this is not new. This is not fit. Hold on.
It's nice of them, at least. Like, they obviously care about some of their community who may have an arachnophobia problem. It's nice of them. I just don't think taking away features of the spider in little bits and pieces until you have 2 balls left, if you slide it all the way to the left, it just doesn't. That is such an immersion breaking experience. That's the problem that I would have with it.
Also, this is still early access, and there's a whole bunch of other problems. I think they will eventually probably replace the balls with something. And everyone's even said that. Like, hey, this is kind of insulting. There's another game.
Or anyway, too. You're right.
There is another game where they take out. I think it's another game where they took out. I think it's if someone has another phobia, but it replaced it with cats. Like it replaced it with photorealistic cat heads, and it comes at you meowing.
That's okay.
Fun. But the thing is, like, so Gavin, you're using that you know the difference between reality and fiction, and that's true.
Maybe.
Here's the thing. You're using the worst thing in the world, which is logic.
No. Hold on, I have major arachnophobia. I cannot walk into this house if there's a spider on the door. It does not matter how big it is. Ask my friends all the spider stories of when we were together. You will laugh your ass off. I cannot. I have major arachnophobia.
Yes. But
so I can still play this game, no problem.
You messed up by
know what I'm getting into.
One of your weaknesses to me here, buddy.
One, you said it, can I ammo? 2, you're still using logic. Some people's brains, arachnophobia is so bad that they cannot even handle the idea of imagery of it.
So they would be going nowhere near a game Grounded where it talks about giant spiders on the cover. There is no way in hell, if I can't handle even that I'm going anywhere near that game.
Yeah, I mean, you've got plenty of other games that use giant spiders. I mean, Skyrim was giant spider city. Yeah, I mean...
But at the same time, there's like people who have agoraphobia. The fear of blood, like, it's not agoraphobia, but it's the fear of blood. Like,
well, then I'm not playing a survival horror game or a monster game.
But there are games that allow you to change the color of the blood, and it allows people to have those experiences. And all it does is change the blood from red to blue.
That's very minimal compared to eliminating an entire aspect of a game.
It's not even eliminating. It just
changes. It is eliminating an entire aspect of the game because part of it is you got to figure out where to hit the spider first of all.
And again, they haven't finished it. I think if when we get to the final,
we're going to play it tonight. You're going to see because you will see exactly what you're missing out on.
Like yes. I can't play with the arachnophobia mode on. I can't do it. I won't do it. I refuse.
So the thing was,
you don't sink in Sea of Thieves. You decide to go swimming. So the option to make that not an option. If I'm afraid of being underwater, which I won't go in a body of water where I cannot see the bottom. That's another phobia I have. I still play Sea of Thieves just fine. And you cannot see the bottom of the ocean there.
It also, I also have to say this with that game. With it also part of the article said that it also helps people who have a lot of thumb and problems because of how you're controlling. It gives people the ability to do that part of the game without having to worry about muscle control as much.
Well, they make adaptive controllers for people who need special control setups, and that's one of the most amazing things Microsoft has done.
Yes.
So if you have a problem with a regular controller because it's no different than walking, then you have a controller that can help you with that.
Right. It's and you said earlier, why aren't we evolving as gamers? And the answer is because the industry itself and we as a whole haven't. And part of the evolution is recognizing that people have problems, physical or emotional problems.
Those people have a tendency to avoid things that's going to trigger that. So
True.
I'm not going to bend over backwards to make a game that appeals to everybody because
But
with all these options, then the story gets distorted, the graphics get distorted, the experience gets distorted. And
No.
yes, it's an option, but for real,
it's not an option that affects you. It won't affect how it affects your version of the game
I understand that.
and how it
But
looks.
the fact that we have to make big news about this because we want to, be the inclusive for people who have arachnophobia, they're not honestly playing this game.
But it's also attached to a lot of other things. This is a scenario where I think you're making a mountain out of more of a molehill.
Because it's becoming a mountain out of a molehill. Like, I can understand turning off gore and Mortal Kombat because for kids and things like that. I can understand changing blood from red to green, though it's still gore. I don't quite understand how that works in the mind. But making entire features of games where you can just push a button just so you can play it, so they can get people who are afraid of water to play Sea of Thieves, they're not really playing Sea of Thieves. I think you're wasting efforts here to try to draw in people who are going to be afraid of your game rather than letting them go and find games that they're really comfortable with.
I think their whole marketing thing right now is to get some of the attention of the video game media and to tell people. I think it's also to tell people who really like a company who will go out of their way for other people. They just like a company that'll do that for people, and so I think they're probably going, "Hey guys, see, we're doing something really nice for people with what do people have phobias of in our game?
Spiders.
Spiders is a big one. So let's change the spider thing, and we can start turning that off." So I think that's part of the thing is that they're trying to present themselves as as nice to people who have arachnophobia. I think that's fine. The nice thing also is the only thing I'll say, because I'm pretty much with you on this one, Gavin. But the only thing I'll say is since I don't have arachnophobia, I'll have zero reason to use this feature whatsoever. So it's not going to bother me, and I'm never going to see it when I'm actually playing the game. So they can have their deformed balls that are walking towards you, and there's spider webs all over the place still, and nightmare fuel for those people and shit.
Would there be spider webs though? Like, are they gonna have to get rid of spider webs? Because there's a lot of those things.
I was gonna say there's a lot of those around there, and I'm sure that's part of the problem with arachnophobia.
I mean, I'm all for.
Yeah, I'm all for a company wanting to be nice, but making a big deal out of it and putting it on a poster and going, "We appeal to people with arachnophobia." I'm thinking they're wasting a little bit of their time doing that, as opposed to just putting it in there and going and making like a small thing and go, "Yeah, well, we even."
I'm gonna say this. It kind of was. They had that feature in the very beginning. Like, you even had it when they announced the game.
Yeah, and I didn't understand what it was till I saw it. I was like, "It's literally just two balls, one with some eyes."
The thing is, it's more people reacting at it existing more than the media making a thing about it. It's more people.
But why does it have to exist is my question. I understand that there are some things in some games people like. I cannot finish Alien Isolation because I cannot handle the alien aspect because it scares the shit out of me. So I watch the stuff online. I'm perfectly fine. I am perfectly fine watching all the shortcuts that they did on IGN for Alien Anniversary. I got the whole story. I'm fine. I would not have been able to fucking finish that game now that I've seen how it ends up. I could not do it because it was But that's not me saying, because I love Alien, I need you to go and change the sounds and the environmental settings and things like that just so I'm comfortable. No, the game is made to be intense that way. There are games that are made to be this way, and if you can't handle it, then it's not a game for you. There are 500 other games that are for you.
Hockey has a point, though, that whenever this whole feature came about, and I'm sure that, I don't think it's like you said, I don't think developer did come up and put a banner. I was being pretty dramatic when I said that.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, Pocky. The feature's in there, and people are grabbing a hold of the feature and getting really angry at it and saying this is really stupid. And the developer's like, well, that's for people with arachnophobia. That's just something we did. And other people are blowing it up and making like a big deal out of it. So
okay, you have to wonder how much of it was also just a marketing ploy, because there are a lot of spiders in this game.
I think it's definitely a big part of the marketing for sure, because it is in there and it's part of the press release. Because if it wasn't
to offend, it's not.
Oh, that's Eddie. Hey, Eddie, you can't politically correct every single little thing.
But the thing is
well, and you can't get angry at every little thing too. And
I'm not angry about it. I just think it's wasted resources they could have done to fix a few of the bugs in the game.
I'm not saying you are necessarily angry at it,
but
I am
legitimately angry that this
exactly. There are people who are actually angry about that,
and I can kind of see why they're angry. Because it's like it's wasted resources and time.
I can see why they'd be angry too, because they're stuck inside and there's nothing else to be angry about.
The people that are angry that this exists, that doesn't affect them at all, are the same effers that get upset when someone says, "Hey, I think Sekiro Shadows Die Twice needs an easy mode, so people who have trouble playing the game because they don't have rhythm or whatnot can play and enjoy the game." These same people will go on a mountaintop and tell you how you're horrible and you destroy games.
Having an easy mode of the game is not the same as saying, okay, we're going to make features for people who are phobia so they can play the game when they're not coming near the game.
It is to some
It is not the same. It is having... An easy mode of the game does not deal with anybody's phobia. Like, I'm doing Outer Worlds on easy just because I want to get through it. It has nothing to do with anything else. An easy version of the game is so that people who are younger, who are a little less experienced in gaming, maybe can have that same experience without the challenge. And the challenge is there for people who want it.
Or for a parent who just wants to get through the story and
doing something for phobia is completely different, because you're trying to market your game to people that it's not for. And that's a little unfair to be like, oh, you're missing out on this experience because you can't get with giant spiders. Well, it's basically just a big version of Minecraft. So go play Minecraft, and there's spiders in Minecraft. Are you going to be able to handle those?
Some people can't, actually. So here's the thing. I mean, other than they made an accessibility option. The whole thing is the gaming industry for a while now has been working on it. Look at The Last of Us Part 2, which has a colorblind mode. It has an option for people with hearing impairment. It has an option for people who have trouble with vision, so they can play the game.
None of that has to do with phobias, Pocky. We're mixing things here, okay? I understand phobias, but you don't go play those games. If you have some sort of hearing impairment, yes, they make sound settings for that. They make colorblind modes, which is great because that gets you into the game. It has nothing to do with the way they're marketing the game towards you. I think that's my problem, is they're trying to market these
I'm a little disappointed. I'm disappointed in both of you. I'll be honest that both of you are able to get so heated over this one, because I think it's pretty it's pretty simple. I'd say let me simplify this for just from
hold on. We're gonna let Matt the last word in this argument, because
my point of view.
We're never our topics where we're getting off now.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but
we're out of time anyway. So
my chest. Oh my god.
So you get the last word now, Senek. What is the last word on this one?
The last word is that putting a slider in there and then taking away features of the spider was probably the cheapest possible way they could have made this thing good for arachnophobic people. I mean, how much money and time did it take to put a slider in there and then just take away those little features? I'm sure it probably didn't take much time at all. So I don't think it's like cheating you or anybody else out of a possible feature they could have had time to add in there or anything like that. I do think it's a weird, bizarre thing to put in, like to put on the label or a press release or anything like that. I think if people opened up the game and the options and said arachnophobia mode on or something like that, or arachnophobia slider, and it was was just there, like, that's cool. I think that if they are trying to push this thing and actually trying to get the press to talk about it, it's a weird thing to waste your time with, just because I think Gavin's right. The arachnophobic people probably aren't going to be going near this game too much as it is, because you're shrunk. There's ants everywhere also, and
the ants hate him. Just so you're Morty and Alpaki, they will swarm Cynic every time.
Will for no damn reason.
I'm
I'm not poking anything with a stick as I go by. I'm cool, and all of a sudden they're on my ass. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I have an odd question, and this is a serious question in a way. How much of this would be press news if COVID wasn't a thing right now and gaming industry was allowed to function as normal?
I think it has more to do with the way.
I think it'd still be there because I think so, because there are I wouldn't say pockets of the gaming community. There are large portions of the gaming community that are just toxic assholes that like to be that way. And so if they're going to get up and shout on top of a mountain that this feature is bullcrap and everything like that, then I'd want to sit down and go, guys, this is not something you should be angry at this company about. It's fine, okay? It took them no time to do this, and if they want to portray themselves as the Good Samaritan for putting an arachnophobia thing in there for people, like, let them. Whatever. Who cares? It's in there. I think they should put a slider in there, and it should go, okay, well, now we're going to turn your spider into a garden gnome or a bird or
a ladybug. How about a ladybug?
There's ladybugs in the game.
There's mean ladybugs. Different
it took
types.
two to take down a ladybug. There's a dead ladybug head on our base. You'll see it.
Very sad. I hate you.
You know what they should replace spiders with? Praying fucking mantises.
Praying mantises, yes.
Because everyone would be terrified of those. It doesn't even matter if you don't have a phobia. You do that.
So that's been it. We're out of time. We went way over today, which is fine. This is our last episode for the summer season. We'll be back at the end of the month, beginning of next month with the new season. I'm doing a new look. We're doing a little bit of a new format. I just got to get things lined up with everything else going on in my life. But right now, we're going to switch over to play Grounded, and you can probably watch it on our Twitch. But that'll be in about 5-10 minutes once we get the show wrapped up, because Pocky's got to go run and do some chores. I got to eat dinner, and I got to get Cynic lined up so he can get to the base and get his stuff ready.
How about 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock. We'll shoot for 10. Wait, does that work for you, Cynic?
I'm going to go eat and also make sure that the baby isn't screaming. Yeah, that sounds fine.
10 o'clock. You watch our Twitch. You can watch us play Grounded with plenty of oh shit moments, because I cannot tell you how many of those come up. But yeah, so
as long as we have something to do, if we walk around and chop down grass just to make stuff and be friendly the whole
we have plenty of materials. You guys got to make your weapons and your armor.
I will club you in the back of the head with a hammer
I have a bunch of tasks we need to go make. So we will be doing stuff, but it's getting Pocky used to the game, getting you actually used to the game, and we will go forth and actually kill bugs. And I found a hole. So we're gonna see what's in the hole, if I can find where the hole is again. Yeah. Oh, I did find dead bodies in an anthill, so that was pretty disturbing.
Cool. Yeah. All right.
All right.
That'll be fun.
That's we're not going to the anthill. You guys all need the ant armor before we do that. But yes, I have plenty of materials. You'll come build what you need. We'll get you how to play, and then we're going to go out in the world, and Pocky can see how an arachnophobia mode does not really work in this game.
I am okay. So first off, I want to say real fast, I will be streaming this. I'll turn on my stream, and I will turn on arachnophobia mode because I want to see how it interacts with your guys' game. I will turn it on.
We're gonna see what we need to see, but my game does not have arachnophobia mode.
I'm hoping it'll just won't render on our side of things.
No. See, Pocky, you're gonna be missing out.
We've talked about it enough, though. Man, I might have to do it just out of curiosity.
Okay, so my advice to you, Pocky, is to not do it for your first experience, so you can get the experience.
Get the experience first.
Later on when you play, turn it on, but you have to see how it works and the importance of this. To see everything, to understand, because it's a major part of this game. So my advice to you, you can turn it on if you want to, but don't turn it on for your first game.
I was turning it on because I'm going to be live streaming, and
I'm going to be live streaming, and it's okay. They see you're streaming Grounded. But my advice to you, do not turn it on for your first game. You want to see how this plays.
Okay.
All right. So that's it for this time. We'll be back in a few weeks. Don't forget, next Tuesday is the season finale of Brad's Red Web. And we've got Brad's Red Web. They're going to do the second part of their censorship in comics. And then we'll be back for our fall season with some new Austin We See You, new Brads, new fan service, new Super Gamer Bros, and a new series I'm doing down with the Texas Toy Museum, which is going to be lots of fun, which is kind of an old series, but we're rebranding and we have a lot of fun with it.
And Courtney and I will be finishing editing the only episodes we finished making of Learn to Roleplay.
Yeah, we need to Learn to Roleplay, more Shadowcast ATX, and maybe some more fun surprises, but we'll see. I've got too many things in the fire. I got to just pick one. So I will see you guys in about 45 minutes on Twitch. We'll see you guys then.
We'll be there. Goodbye, everyone. I'll see you next season.
If you're still here after you want to argue.